What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. So in today's video, we're going to be reading the poem called Transitioning from a Caterpillar to a Butterfly. All right, let's get to it. The soul is in its natural state when it's in silence. When you start acting on your intuition is when you're in perfect alignment. Some people and situations may be a chapter in your book of endless experiences. Remain neutral in all situations. It's quite easy to get caught up in appearances. Each organ represents a specific ability that your soul clung onto for various lifetimes. Allow the space of self care and self healing, and your body and mind shall be redefined. Spirituality is the discovery of one's true self and capabilities. Just like the great furnace of fire, display your outer flame in plain visibility. No matter the circumstance, realize and remember the rules to the game. Once you have mastered the lessons of each lifetime, nothing will ever be the same. That is transitioning from a caterpillar to a butterfly. So now we'll break it down. The soul in its natural state, when it's in silence, when you start acting on your intuition, is when you're in perfect alignment. So the best time is when you're in silence, when you're meditating, when you're dreaming. You know what I mean? When you shut out all physical perception and you go within. That is when you're truly, at your perfect state. And that's when you're at your natural state, because that's where everything started from. Existence started, you know, from the darkness in silence, right? Like it says in Genesis. When you start acting on your intuition is when you're in perfect alignment. The only greatest answer you're ever going to get is when you go within. You listen to your instincts. Because your instincts is based on your experiences. It's based on certain pattern recognition that you've went through. You know what I mean? It's based on also just that unexplainable force that you have within you that you can utilize to be able to gain perception that usually is not being able to gain. You can do the extraordinary, but you have to also go within. You have to know who you are, and meditating is very important. Some people and situations may be a chapter in your book of endless experiences. Remain neutral in all situations. It is quite easy to get caught up in appearances. So some people and situations may be a chapter in your book of endless experiences. So that's the great part of experiences. You're always writing a new chapter, When you're going through life, you're experiencing things. Not everything's going to be permanent. You have to enjoy it while you have it. You have to enjoy the people that you're around while you have it. You have to enjoy your experiences while you have it. Even who you are as a person at that time, you have to enjoy that personality while you have it, because you might not be that personality or have that same persona, further down the line. So it's very important to just acknowledge all your experiences, acknowledge all your just who you are, and like how you evolved. You know, just sometimes just sit back and look about it. Think about it, and think about all the times and all the experiences you've been through, and who you are today. Have you came a long way? Have you changed? Are you still the same person? You know what I mean? Just think about all these type of things and see where you're at in life. Because we're all at different journeys in life, and only you can, I guess, know who you are and know what you truly are, and how you can either be better, how you can expand yourself, how you can what you need to work on. You know what I mean? Only you can know that. It says remain neutral. Oh yeah, I think I read that. Remain neutral in all situations. It is quite easy to get caught up in appearances, because it's very important to always before you act. You know what I mean? That's really what it is. You have to think before you act. Certain situations you might think, oh, let me do this, but you might really need to observe first before you act. And it's very important, because when you observe things, then okay, it's time for me to act, or it's time for me to step back. You know what I'm saying? So It's always better to be in the observant position because you have the possibility to act or not react. You know what I'm saying? But you have both abilities. It's like being in the great spirit. When you're an observer, you're like in the great spirit, like the all seeing eye, and you're just observing. You're not reacting and you're not stepping back, you're just observing. But then you can choose when you want to, because you have that power within you. You know what I'm saying? And then it says each organ represents a specific ability that your soul clung onto for various lifetimes. Allow the space for self care and self healing, and your body and mind shall be redefined. So each organ represents a specific ability that your soul clung onto for various lifetimes. So the organs in your body, right, are a physical representation of your spirit, right? Because how would I explain this? Like for instance, the human body that we call the human body, we're a very dual species. You know what I'm saying? We see things from a dual perspective, right? You know what I'm saying? We have a male and a female, and we have the masculine and the feminine energy within us. So by having that, that means that we have a dual perspective. That's why we have two eyes, two ears, an upper and a lower mouth. You know what I'm saying? Two legs, two arms. What else? You know, for the women, two breasts, the men, two testicles. Everything's always going in duality. Everything is dual. You know what I'm saying? And the spirit is observing both aspects. That's what creates the third dimension. And you have to see it like this: like, if we are talking about great distance, and let's say if we are, like I said in my previous video, pretend we're living in a being, um, each organ is a different planet or a different geographical location. You know, the organs down here, the civilization over there, the intelligence might be very low. You know what I mean? Might be very minimum. Whereas the organs within maybe like the reproductive system might still be very advanced. When it comes to their civilization and their society, and it keeps going. The higher you go, the more intelligent and more sophisticated that species is. So it's the same thing, based on certain geographical locations, certain species are going to be unique to that location because that's what they're there for. Their body is designed to adapt to that environment. You know what I'm saying? And so nothing's by accident. In my opinion, I believe we create everything, so we never make mistakes. Everything, that's why it's is the way it is. But yeah, let's go on to the next line. Spirituality is the discovery of one's true self and capabilities. Just like the great furnace of fire, displace display your outer flame in plain visibility. So spirituality is the discovery of one's true self, because that's what it is. Spirituality is all about knowing who you are. It's not a form of organized spiritual system. That's not what spirituality is. It's not an organized spiritual perception or a system or things like that. Spirituality is knowing who you are. What works for you might not work for someone else. What makes you wake up every day might not be the same thing that makes someone else wake up. And that's perfectly fine. That's what spirituality is. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it's easy to put in a religious context and have these type of rules and regulations on what spirituality is. But spirituality is just you knowing who you are, because you're a spirit. You have a soul. You know what I mean? And you're part of this great spirit experiencing something, or on your individual self. So you have to know who you are. And once you know who you are, that's when you become spiritual. That's it's pretty simple, you know. Um, it's just also knowing also what a spirit is. You know what I'm saying? Because, but yeah, that's a different video. Just know that everything that is physical has a invisible aspect to it in all existence. Just like the great furnace of fire, display your outer flame in plain visibility. So that's your charismatic gifts. Just like the sun is the great flame, you also have the great flame within you. And your flame can either be used to warm up your environment and the people around it, or it can burn down what is no longer needed and anything outdated, people, place, or things. You can burn that down and restart again. You know what I'm saying? Use your spiritual flame to burn it down and rebuild again. And then it says, no matter the circumstance, realize and remember the rules to the game. Once you master the lessons of each lifetime, nothing will ever be the same. The rules to the game is life. Life is like a game. It's like Monopoly. No, not really Monopoly, but life is a game. You know, and whatever game you make it, that's what it is. I don't want to really say that. Yeah, so life is a game, and whatever game you make it is how it is. And you want to make it an interesting game. You know what I'm saying? And and also make sure that you experience the best part of it and gain whatever reward you need to gain and gain whatever mission you need to gain and experience all of it. Once you have mastered the lessons of each lifetime, nothing will ever be the same. Because once you have mastered the lesson, and the lesson is by experiencing, you will never gain the lesson without experiencing. Once you experience certain things, that's when you gain the lesson. And it'll actually make you more wiser. And it's better to gain the lesson when you're younger because it will help you when you grow up, grow much older and things like that. Because it will actually prepare you. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important. So it's very important, as you know, if anyone that's young watching my videos, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to be yourself and experience things. You know what I'm saying? Because it will actually make you more wiser in the long run, and that's the most important thing. So yeah, guys, that's the video for today. Hope you guys gained something new, and until next time, I'll catch you soon.